Good morning. We are live. Welcome, welcome. Happy Saturday, everyone. I want to make sure that it says that we are live, and I do see us. So I'm super excited. Welcome to my live creator chit chat. Today is a first for me. I have an Instagram creator with me today, and it is Tiffany. Now, Tiffany, is it Bowden or Bowden?
It is Bowden, but I'll accept Bowden. I'm good with Bowden. I've been doing it since I've been married. So
I say Bowden and somebody else was saying Bowden. And I was like, if I get on this live and say it the wrong way, I'm going to be so embarrassed. But it is Bowden. Thanks, Dolores. She says that we are live. So we got Miss Damn Jewelry from the UK in the house today. And I did see earlier that Michelle Lee was here. She came in a little bit early. And Susan, our prayers and thoughts are with you as you go throughout your day today. I know it's going to be a tough day for you, but I do want to say that we are thinking about you today. So thanks for even popping on and taking the time to pop on and say hi. Dolores says, hey, Tiffany.
Hi, Dolores. Nice seeing you or meeting you.
And so Dolores, was trying to explain to Tiffany that Dolores is originally from Houston, has been in the UK for a while. And so we usually just kind of chat it up, and people will kind of come in as they will. It's not raining in Texas today, so people may be yard sailing. And I know that the estate sales that I went to yesterday, today, of course, is 50% off day.
Of course. Or Sundays. Sunday sometimes is also 50. Today's Saturday, right? So sometimes Sundays are good.
So I think theirs went Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Oh,
Now, so it's the last day. I have gone to a couple where the third day is 75% off day. That was like my second estate sale. That was a good one.
That is a good one. And I've been to one before where I had messaged because I thought it was over. And he said, actually, we're going to go ahead and open it tomorrow, and everything's $1. Everything in the house is $1. That was probably my second estate sale, I think. And I bought all these original oil paintings. Oh, it was these vintage lamps, antique lamps. Yeah, it was crazy.
I might have gone crazy in that one.
my like SUV was filled up.
Now, yesterday, Lovey actually took me, and I was like, oh, it's just raining. It's Texas rain. It's not going to be a problem. Girl, we left out of here and it was monsoon all the way to Wharton. So where Wharton is 59 South. So it's about 45 minutes away. And I mean, it was just horrible rain. I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I kept saying, I'm so sorry. And he's fine. He can drive in anything, but we did get to hit 3 estate sales. I went to one in Rosenberg and 2 Wharton, and then I went to a church rummage sale. And that one was cool. I mean, the entire education building, it was like at a Catholic church, and they had an education building. So where basically all their preschool and grade level rooms were, each room was a different thing. So like men's clothing, women's clothing, jewelry, hard goods, kitchen, bath. I mean, they had it separated so nicely. So
did you find some good stuff?
I did find some good stuff. Now, Dolores is on my Marco Polo. I don't know if you use Marco Polo. It's like a video text app. And we're constantly on there. That's how we shop with each other. Like because I have some friends, Michelle at Newton's Cupboard, and Christine from Side Street Market. Oh, by the way, y'all, if you have not, Christine did a drop sale today. She did a pre-recorded sale at Side Street Market. It's all the smalls. Everything was $10 and below. So she recorded that. It dropped today. So if anybody's watching, go check that out. Also, yes, 75% off was the Sunday. But Tiffany, do they have that in your Goodwills on Monday? Is it 75% off the color?
No.
Yeah.
They no, but I will tell you, like, we have great Goodwills here in the Austin area. I mean, a lot of great thrifting, great Goodwills. But I will say, because I think it's so popular up here, because, you know, we keep things a little bit weird here in Austin, right? That's what you've heard before. So I think that, like, if I go to Houston or I go to Baytown where my parents live, their Goodwills are so good. And not to say that they're not here, but the sales I feel like are better in the Houston area than up here. One time I was at one in Dallas or Houston, I don't remember, but they gave a teacher discount.
Oh, wow.
I know. And they don't do any discounts. I don't even think they do military discounts or anything like that here in the Hill Country area. They will have like a orange like tag sale, right? Where if it's an orange tag, it's 50% off or whatever. But no, I think y'all's sales are better than ours here in Austin.
So good morning, Miss Nancy Smith. Thanks for coming.
Hey, Nancy.
Drop sale is a pre-recorded sale. So we, I think y'all call them a static sale on Instagram, maybe, where they are like just the pictures or whatever. But a drop sale is on YouTube. They record it like they would a regular video, but it is items. They still show an item. They have a number and a price, and they just show the item. And the first one to claim it in the comments, she sorts them by the oldest first, and the first one to claim it in the comments wins it. And so otherwise, when you're done, you just put done. And that way she can know to package up your stuff and she can send you an invoice. They still use PayPal or whatever. Hey, Stephanie, Thrifting Adventures. And it's only like, what, 9 o'clock in the morning over there, Stephanie? She's in Washington State, right, Stephanie?
Oh, nice.
So
hi, Tiffany.
I got to really officially welcome Tiffany Bowden Vintage on Instagram. And people have asked, well, how did you, like Dolores asked me, how did y'all even meet each other? Literally through Instagram. Like I've met most of my friends on here. I met through YouTube, but now there's so many of us that are on Instagram as well. And Tiffany, you have a store, right? An Instagram store?
I guess I just call it a page, right? So everything I list is basically on my page. But yeah, most of my selling is done through Instagram or Facebook Marketplace. And then I just opened a booth. I haven't started it yet. It's in the process. So in fact, when we get off, I've got to go move in some furniture. I found yesterday, somebody on Marketplace had posted this old, it was out of Palestine, Texas, is where she said she got it. And then she said this pie company out of Palestine had found this little cupboard in a barn. And so it's a true antique, really chippy piece that I'm going to throw into the booth and use for display. So I'm going to go drop that off when we're done.
Yes. And one of the topics, I just started a new segment simply to help me learn, but also because there's a lot of questions. Like when people come in the chat, like Miss Nancy asked us, you know, what is a drop sale or whatever. But I wanted to know a little bit more. And I don't know very much about glass. Clearly, I don't know about dolls either. Because yesterday I went to take a picture of that doll, that creepy clown doll, because Tacky is Me, Daniel on YouTube, has one. It's kind of his mascot. He calls it Charlie. It's like cute, creepy, but that's kind of his mascot. And I saw it and I was like, OMG, that looks like Charlie. It's got to be a distant cousin. So as a joke, I posted it and tagged him in it. And everybody was like, yeah, but look at the dolls. And I was like, I don't know anything about the dolls. And they were only $2, which made people more upset that I didn't get them.
I know, for real.
25% off.
So that's what, like $1.50, $1.75?
Something like that.
Yeah, I saw that picture and I was like, that's why I responded. I was like, oh my gosh, did you get them? Or if you were still there, I was thinking, would you get them for me? I'll even pay you like double for them. I was like, they're so good.
That's when I said, Tiffany, we need to go shopping together. I'm actually supposed to at some point go to Austin. Carrie, KCATX, she follows you on Instagram too. She was in that live sale that I caught with y'all.
Okay, yes.
She's on Instagram and she's in the chats with us. She is so sweet. But she is in Austin. Hey,
hi, Rebecca.
She said she just followed you.
Oh, thank you.
Damn
devil doll.
Yeah, it was. Everybody was like, "Leave the devil doll where it is. Don't touch it."
I love it. I have dolls. I mean, as you can see, I have one behind me. I have one. I really like the horseman, kind of the composite type dolls. I have this one next to me, and this one is a little creepy. This one is mechanical, so she moves.
Uh-huh.
And so it's really funny because that last sale that we were talking about where I went live and it was kind of craziness, she decided to go off. She sits right here and she decided to just start moving. And we're like, what is that? And I was like, oh my goodness, you guys, this doll literally started moving. And I knew it was mechanical and you had to press certain buttons, but like she hadn't been that mechanical in the past. And so, girl, she started moving and moving her arms. And I was like, okay, someone's happy over here. Mm-hmm.
Spirits, no thank you.
Nope.
Holy water. Hey, thanks for coming this morning. Yes, Carrie is very. She got Miss Nancy a furry squirrel just because in a live, and that is so sweet. In our community, I will say, like on our sales, we have a lot of people that will buy and say, "Hey, send this to so and so." So they'll buy from us and say, I know somebody's looking for it, or I know they collect them. It is the sweetest group of people.
That is so nice. That is super kind. Yeah, I feel like the community on Instagram so far, and I mean, I've only been doing it just for a year, so I'm about to come up to 1 year. So far, everybody's been super, super supportive. I mean, I've seen some cattiness on the side from time to time, but I don't get involved in any of that.
Doesn't have my name on it, so keep
Nope, moving on. So, but overall, everybody's super supportive. But I can already tell you ladies are amazing and super supportive of each other.
Learn from the Instagram people. I mean, I've been learning from YouTube people, but who also have Instagram pages. But now that I'm starting to follow more Instagram, just sole Instagram resellers and stuff, there's a lot of knowledge, and that's what it's all about, is learning from each other. I mean, we do the same thing as teachers, right? In education, we learn from each other. So how did you get started with vintage and loving vintage?
Well, so when I was younger, my parents used to go to antique auctions. It was literally right next door to my grandmother's house. So it was easy to walk across the street and go. And so I grew up going to those for years. And my parents always had antiques in the house. And I've always been obsessed with like the history of things, right? Like the history and why things are the way they are and who did it belong to. And I was always super curious about, you know, well, did they pass away? And like, I have this, like, I have this, you know,
morbid curiosity.
Obsession with, you know, the macabre a little bit, but yes, and morbid stuff. But we would just go and we would shop, and you know, I'd ask questions and I would come home with things, and so I really think that's where it kind of originated. And then over the years, when I kind of had my own house, I would have antiques and I would bring things. When my mom would get rid of them, I would kind of take them into my house. And so when the kids were little and we moved to Austin from the Houston area, I used to Goodwill with them all the time. I was obsessed with dressing them in gymboree, and I'd go, you know, because gymboree is kind of was expensive, right? So I would thrift and we would go and I would just buy stuff. And I got into buying and reselling really when they were little. And so I did that on the side while I wasn't working. And then when I went back to teaching, it just got really hard to do both at the same time. And so taught for years. I'm still a teacher. I teach middle school. But I started doing this last year because of COVID. And we were kind of at a point in time where my husband and I were like, okay, do I want to go back? Like, what is this going to look like? Because teaching middle school in person, because my district is in person and virtual at the same time. Right. I'm like, I was really scared. I mean, that's really tough, right? I'm such a hands-on relationship teacher and, you know, want the kids right here. And I was just like, this is not going to be for me. So I started Bowden Vintage just based off of really that, and fell in love with it, fell in love with the community and meeting everyone. So that's kind of where I really started that.
Yeah, and it's something that you've always loved. So, and then you do and then it kind of grows on you, right? As in,
Of course.
I'm doing a live sale and people are like, hey, when's your next live sale? And I was like, I don't know. I'm exhausted. I need to sleep right now. My first live sale, my first live sale on YouTube, I'm not kidding. I walked out of here, sat on the couch and fell asleep. Like I was so drained because I'd been so high, like with just excitement and things. Hey, Miss Trish from Miss
Hi, everyone.
Sandy and Otto. She has great sales too.
Oh,
Catch them because every time I get my notification, I'm like, hold on, I'm coming. But then most of them,
thank you, Nancy.
I have to watch the replay sometimes of hers, but I was able early on to catch some stuff. A middle school teacher. Yeah, we were just talking about that a second ago. Like I'm the little kid. I want the pre-K and kinders. I'm like singing and dancing. I think that might be my AC. That's
the second time that's happened when you've been talking about teaching, when we were talking about your friend and her husband. So, I mean, I'm just calling that out because
talk about teaching anymore, right?
I'm just saying somebody might be watching out for you.
Ooh, I'm getting hot. Like there's ghostess in here or something. And I'm like, is that my AC? It cannot be my AC.
That does not sound like an AC.
Well, don't tell me it's ghostess. It's that doll that you brought in here.
It sounded like angels singing their hooray because you are, see?
Ooh, ciao.
Hey, but you said you don't like the middle school kids. I was the same way. I'm an early childhood major. I used to teach first and second grade for years. Then I taught fourth and fifth grade. And then I moved to middle school with my kids because my kids were going and we moved and it's close to the house. So sixth grade is really easy though, because they're still elementary.
Yeah, and I told somebody, I coordinated with the sixth grade people, and she's like, oh, they'll be fine. And we're like, look, this one might be a handful, or, this one just needs a lot of love. Because in elementary, that's what, we love them to death, and we over nurture, and we over provide accommodations, and we over everything. And then we're like, okay, but this one is really different. And we'll say that about the next one. Okay, well, this kiddo needs a lot of this. And she was like, don't you want to come to middle school? And I said, look, they don't know whether to chase boys or play with Barbies. And I don't either. So I can't help them. Like I'm still playing and dressing dolls and decorating and doing arts and crafts over here. I can't. I was a really good student, but geez, I just couldn't go through that emotional thing with them. I'm too much of an empath with that. Nancy says she was a substitute teacher in middle school once. But the veteran teacher knew her stuff and they listened. Yeah. Discipline is a whole nother ball game when you're talking about education today. But this is going to be my 29th year going into education. And we were just talking about how old I am, but 29 years, but I lost 8 years coming from South Carolina. So in Texas.
Oh no. Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah, but I still got into that 80, so I'm good. I'm grandfathered into the 80. So between my life years and my years of experience total will help a little bit. I just will have to work a few more to make it up for, but I'm not worried about that. Dolores says, true story, working full-time and reselling is a lot. And I actually did a day in the life video. And
I watched that.
So many people were like, dude, no. And I said, they were like, is that every day? And I'm like, you know what? It might not be 7 days a week, but it's at least 5 days a week. Yeah. Take Sunday out for church and Saturday you may need to go. And that wasn't even a day that I had to go thrifting after work, because I had to come home and package and stuff, but it's a lot. So being a teacher or being in education is just like anything else. It's taxing. You talk to people all day long. You put out fires all day long, like any job, right? Mm-hmm. And then you come home, and we kind of tracked it. I was doing 8 hours at work, and then I would come home and do about another 4 on average in the evening and maybe an hour in the morning. So it was about 5 hours total that I was doing a day just on the reselling business, not including the weekend shows or going traveling to the booth or resetting the booth and all that kind of stuff. So where is your booth? You said you just got one.
Yeah, it is at the Round Rock Antique Gallery Mall. So I think that, it's interesting. I think that it's like a franchise gallery mall, because I noticed on their website there was one in like Dallas and there was one in Houston as well. Sorry, I'm trying to think of I always just say it's the Round Rock Antique Gallery Mall.
Okay. I wrote it down to look it up.
Yeah, and I just started, like I said, luckily they were very nice about me not starting July 1st because I had to move my daughter up to college and stuff. And so it's not open yet, but it's it's work in progress for sure. I'm really hoping that it does well because like we were talking about earlier, like booth prices and stuff like that, it's expensive. My husband about flipped a lid. I'm like, if I can just break even at first, I'd be happy.
Yeah. Now don't gauge it on the first 3 months. I've had a booth. I think I've had a booth about close to 2 years.
Okay.
Nancy said, just hearing you wears me out.
I'm laughing at Dolores. She said macaroni pictures.
Yes.
From like, that's what you do with the little ones, the macaroni where you dye them.
It's good fine motor, Dolores, and then we paint it. It's beautiful. And our parents hang it on their refrigerator. Don't lie, Tiffany. You've got some stuff.
I do. I was about to say, and then it goes into a plastic container.
That's right. But with the booth, I will say this. I've had one about 2 years. And don't gauge it on the first 3 months.
Okay.
But you're doing good going into like the fourth quarter because, it's seasonal or whatever.
True.
I really looked out. The first one I was only in about 6, maybe, I don't know if it was that 6 or 8 months. And then she closed, she moved. Her husband got promoted and she closed and they moved to San Antonio. And I was like, OMG, now what do I do? Because even though I had a little bitty space and was paying a lot of money for like this much space.
Yeah.
I still didn't have anywhere to store that. So I was like, I got to find another one. And I found the Glen Flora Emporium, which is to the right of Wharton. Like if you're going 59 south to Victoria, left at Buc-ee's is Wharton and right is Glen Flora. And it literally is like a street. And there's an antique emporium there that Trish has owned her name is Trish as well.
Okay.
But has owned it for like 30 years, 26, 30 years, something like that.
Aww.
And so I got a space there, but it was no booth fee. Now it's 35% commission, but if I don't sell, she doesn't make money, and it's storage for free. She pays taxes, of course. She pays the tax. And then she writes me a check if it's over, like if I profit over $40 in a month, she writes a check, but otherwise she rolls it over.
Okay.
So, if I don't sell something in a month, then I'm not out $260 to $350 for a booth. So it works. The commission ones don't, yes, it's high, but she also doesn't charge me an extra commission for my credit card or the taxes, like a commission to file taxes. She doesn't do all that. And my other one had all these.
Oh, yeah.
This percentage if they paid cash, this percentage if they paid credit card, this percentage for us for our taxes and plus the booth fee. So right now, the way I see it, I'm saving $300 a month and I'm not paying a storage fee for it.
Wow, that's impressive. I love the name Emporium too. Like that sounds like such a fancy word for like antique store or something.
And look at Dolores. She dropped your Instagram link and the link.
Dang. Girl, you're so good.
She is good.
You are, Sandy. So is Sandy. Sandy's your first name? Sandy and Otto, Trisha.
Trisha is, Sandy and Otto are her cats.
Oh, cute. That's adorable.
You know these people too well on YouTube when you know the story behind their name and their parents and where they live and all.
That's so funny. Oh, you were in the Arboretum area? Yeah, it's so pretty over there. I like that area too. Oh, you missed the orange from Round Rock Donuts. Well, Round Rock Donuts is like super like popular, right? Like it's listed as maybe one of the top 10 donut places in like the US.
Oh wow, I
At
missed it.
least maybe even one of the top fives, but they're kind of an orangey yellowy color. They're to die for.
Where are
So
they?
they're in Round Rock.
But it's called Round Rock Donut.
Round Rock Donut, delicious. Oh, amazing. So
I
you can get these huge donuts, right? So you can get, of course, the regular size, but they sell these big ones too that are probably at least a foot long. I don't know. They're really, really good. Also, Trish, I'm in Leander, so you're probably familiar where that is. And Round Rock Donuts is building here in Leander. They're opening a second store in my area. I know.
see, I'm a Krispy Kreme girl because I'm from South Carolina. I mean, like,
Oh yeah.
ugh, they
Oh, I
just
know.
up like manna. And
Mm.
Doris and I have a running. We have I don't know what you call it. It's just like a running thing between two things: Shipley's versus Krispy Kreme, and pecan versus pecan.
I say pecan.
Yes, because you're from Texas.
I totally say pecan. Oh, look, she said, okay, hold on. I got to go back and read Ship. So my husband's a huge Shipley fan too. He prefers Shipley's over Round Rock Donuts, which is unheard of, but he loves Shipley's too. And we have one right down the road. Usually they're pretty good. The last time we went, when I was taking my kid to college, we went and picked up some on the way up there, and I wasn't that impressed. I don't know. I don't know.
I think
It
I'm
was
just
warm.
the texture and the sheer sugar that's in a Krispy Kreme. Like when they come hot off that glaze thing, oh my Lord. Like you can just die.
He's a genius. Oh, he's obsessed with Shipley's. Speaking of, look
at there.
not Shipley's though. These are there's a place right down the road that just opened called Monster. And it is absolutely super adorable, cute. At the front of a neighborhood, and you walk in, their display case is just beautiful, super colorful with donuts. Oh my gosh, it's so good. But so that's where we've been going because it's close to the house and it's really fresh. It's always fresh. Like I think that's important, right? Like if you get the ones that are cold, kind of, but like staley, it's got to be like super fresh.
Like, I pride myself on the amount of sugar that I actually eat. One time they were like, hey, you need to back off on the sugar. And the physician told me, he goes, but I'm going to be honest, you eat so much sugar that you could not just stop eating sugar. You might have a seizure. And I was like, oh, you're kidding. And he goes, no, I'm not.
Yeah, I know. My grandmother passed away. She was a diabetic and she passed away about 1.5 years ago. So my mom and I both are like, we got to watch it. We literally have to start watching it because we're all sweet eaters here too.
I always kid. My dad was a non-compliant diabetic that ended up with congestive heart failure, and I did hit hospice, but we always kid because I have low blood sugar, and I'm like, that's why I eat so much sugar. And my mom's like, that's not how that works. But I've done it for a long time. Nancy says we have Beaver Dough Joe's in Powell, Tennessee. Ooh, apple fritters. Those are. Yes, sugar is a major food group. It actually is.
100%.
So what is your favorite thing to look for when you are out thrifting?
Sorry, I was reading these questions. And then Dolores asked, what are my favorite places to thrift? Okay. Yeah. My favorite things to look for when I'm out, of course, are antique dolls. Anything to me that sometimes people get so freaked out, but like things that tell a story that are, of course, older, right? But things that I feel like I connect with are really the things like I honestly buy a lot of things through intuition, like what I feel. Like if I'm feeling a connection or I'm feeling some things, energy or something with that item, then I know it's for me, right? And I know the difference. It's really weird because I feel like I know the difference between something that I love and I want to keep and something that I love that I think somebody else will like.
Right.
So I usually will look for Victorian things, Victorian mourning pieces. I love the Victorian era and the jewelry and the Victorian morning jewelry and the hair pieces. One of my most prized possessions that I found when I was thrifting, actually, it was an auction that I did here in town. And I was bidding on this item. I thought it was a Victorian morning item that was framed, but I couldn't tell from the picture. So I thought it was going to be like a 5x7, literally some 5x7 frame. It ended up being 3 foot by 3 foot, and it was a shadow box. And when I showed up to pick it up here in Taylor, right? That's the auction that I did, was in Taylor. When I showed up to pick it up and they handed it to me, I literally, I was shocked because I thought it was small, and I could smell that it was old and it was antique, and it was just, it's beautiful. It's funny because I just did a little video for Catherine. I think you had a little interview with Catherine.
Yeah.
Catherine Young.
She's actual morning jewelry. She just did a video about some morning jewelry that she got.
Yes. So I'm in that video. This piece,
I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, watch it. This piece I'm in is in that video where I'm kind of just showing it. It's just my voice talking about it. But it is a shadow box of wool that someone has taken and they've woven together to make flowers. And it's a floral wreath made from wool. And it's like in this shadow box, it's got velvet, it's encompassed with velvet, and it's this gold frame. It's absolutely stunning, and it's worth a lot. And so I haven't been able to sell it yet because I'm still like so connected. It's funny because my husband was asking me this morning, when are you gonna get rid of it? And I'm like, I don't think I am just yet. Like, I just love it. Yeah. So I always like looking for Victorian things, old antique photos. Like, I love the old antique photos just to put in display. I have a lot of those just displayed around the house. You know, like I said, things that I connect with, like that could be a little morbid, a little gothic-y, Hollywood Regency gold, old books. I've found so many old books that have notes and things inside. And that's my favorite, is just finding something that like gives you a little bit of like glance of what was going on right at that time or through someone's head. One time I found a book and it had, I'm thinking it was early 1900s, but there was a picture in it and there was a note on the back. And it was really sweet, to my sweetheart. And then there was like a little card from a church. It was really, really neat. So I just love finding pieces like that. Those are the things I really, you know, look for, I think, when I'm out and about. And shiny. I like crystal. You know, the crystal and the crystal and the gold, brass together, and the marble. You know what I'm talking about? That I have them all over my house.
So when you talked about old books, first of all, hey, Carrie, KCATX, we were just talking about you and how sweet you are. Go back.
Oh, yes. Hey, Carrie.
And she said that she's excited because you live close to her, because Carrie's in Austin too. So
I do. Yep.
And I keep that I'm coming, and I swear I am. And my niece is in Austin, which I should go because she has a new baby, but I think she's in town this weekend. So she's going to come and see me, which is good. But you were talking about books, and you would have died because the bins that I went to, I think it was the last bins, right, Dolores? I went to the bins and I found all of these late 1800, 1900 books. Most of them were from like England, but again, all the notes, the inscriptions on those were cool. But I mean,
I love it.
Literally paying what, 33 cents for the book. And one of the books, my mom started looking up, because she used to buy my dad first editions.
Sure.
And the reprint of a first edition or something like that, there's a big difference. She tried to explain. Yeah. I wasn't listening. That's not a shock. But she was like, do not sell this book. And she sent it to me, and it's like $300 and something.
Dang.
She goes, no, seriously, I've looked into it. Do not sell that book. So when I went to the bins, there's always like bins and bins of books. And there's so many old books. And I started picking them up really for color to stage and add height. Mm-hmm. But then people wanted to buy the older books for the same reason. Yeah. And there was a couple of people, I can't remember who I was watching, that found out theirs was a first edition. They sold it on a sale. Who was that? It was a man. He sold it on a sale, and the guy later he then found out it was a first edition of a book.
No.
We don't know. It's like dolls. I don't know about dolls. I don't.
Sure.
So we don't know about that. Nancy says that Fatbird Finds found a collection of vintage cards. Done a family tree. It was fun and endearing. Oh, that's fun. I do that with cookbooks. I like cookbooks that have been written in, so I always pick up cookbooks.
I like cookbooks too that have all the little notes and side notes. I just got one from an estate sale, and she's got all these little note cards in there from like 40s and 50s, and they're all like her friends. She'll say, so-and-so gave me this recipe.
Yeah.
1947, and I love that too. It's so cute. I like that too, Nancy, because like when I find old cards, like postcards, I got a really good deal at an antique store one time. This guy had this huge bin, and I just offered him one price for the whole bin and took them. And so I use them to throw into my packages a lot. And all of them in there were from Texas. Like, so, I mean, you know, that's where I got it from, was from an antique store here in Texas. But I think it went back to 1901, maybe was the earliest that's on the card. But I love doing that because I like looking up the people and seeing, you know, you can find out, you know, a little bit about who they were. And I don't know. I like to do the trail like that too. It's fun.
Yeah. My great grandmother made a cookbook, and she had pages of scrapped or used pages, and she would cut out from the newspaper.
Yeah.
Would glue it on, and she had she had yarn tying it together, or jump rings. And then when I got some of the new cookbooks that I had, what I loved is the lady put like page 71, and she put the recipe, and she wrote yuck.
That's so cute.
And I thought that was fun. Dolores was saying that she should try to find you a Victorian flea catcher. And if you haven't seen, she has a video with Lady Peacock. And Lady Peacock is a vendor. She has a store there. And she thought it was like maybe a hair receptacle or something like that. I don't know, yeah, Dolores, what it would have been. It was like an old piece of wood or something. And Lady Peacock was like, no, it's a flea catcher. And they would put it, I don't know what she said, Dolores, as to where they would put it. But it's because they didn't take baths. And so basically like body lice or fleas, and they would go in and they couldn't get back out. So it was a flea.
No way. I've never seen those out unless I have and just didn't know. Oh my goodness, Dolores, that'd be awesome.
To me, it looks like a piece of wood with holes in it, maybe. And she was like, oh, so it's, you know, something. And she goes, no, it's a flea catcher. But Dolores has a video, y'all, with Lady Peacock, where she does an interview with Lady Peacock, who, you know, is my BFF in the UK. She is like the most fanciest person over there. I mean, she's just pristine,
glamorous. Dolores, I'm totally putting that down right now so that I can go look at that and look at your video with Lady Peacock. By the way, your Etsy store is beautiful.
She says your Etsy store is amazing, Dolores. So where do you like to thrift the most?
Oh goodness, probably like everyone else, just a variety. So the Goodwills, the local thrift around town. There's one St. Paul, the ones that donate back to the church, right? I really like those. Yeah. I feel like it's a win-win. Like, yeah, I'm getting things for me, but I'm also giving back, which I think, you know, makes me feel good, and it kind of gives me a purpose a little bit. And so the Vincent St. Paul thrift stores, I've always been really lucky at those. There was some antique stores that I just went into in College Station after I dropped my daughter off, and those were fantastic. So antique stores as well. Of course, I always scour the booths that have sales first. You know, y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, you look at the booths and there's a sale sign. You're like, okay. Do what?
Let me sneak in here for just a minute.
For sure. So really just thrift stores around the area, you know, church thrift stores, antique stores. I love finding things there. And of course that, you know, depends on the day because, you know, they're also trying to sell. And And then estate sales as well. I, like you, have Beth, have estatesales.net app
Yeah,
on my phone.
that probably not a good thing.
It is, yeah, it is. It's addictive. Estate Sales of Austin, Carl runs an amazing, if anyone is in the Austin area, he has amazing sales. And it's really interesting. I like the way that he does his sales because nothing is marked for the most part. I have been to maybe one or two and it was a Victorian hoarder home. So everything was worth a lot. So there was a lot marked. But the way that he does his is you go in and you make a pile. You pick what you want and you go, yeah, you know Carl, right? I know he's amazing. And you pick what you want and you check out and he says, "What do you want to pay?" Yeah, he asks, "What do you want to pay?" And so that part is tricky, right? Because I get sometimes a little like, okay, I don't want to like under, but I don't want to over. It gets tricky.
Rude.
Of course. And so sometimes I'll be like, just Carl, just throw me a number, but you could really, I mean, I came out at one point in time spending only $40 for this huge pile of amazing items. So,
yeah, my first time that I've ever asked about a price. I don't bargain. I don't like when people do it when I'm at my shows.
Sure.
Because I'm just one of those people that have taken into consideration. And yeah, I saw Carrie works for an estate company too.
You do? I didn't know that. That's awesome.
And but I did, and I posted it on Instagram yesterday, that green bowl that I found. I knew as soon as I saw it, that's going to glow. So I asked Lovey to shine the little key light on it, and he did. And I mean, it's like so bright, even in the day, like even in bright sunlight. And so, but it was marked like, I think it was 15, and it's super heavy. It was a big item, and it was their first day. And I just was like, something just came over me, and I was like, hey, is there any way that, they could do a better on this? And she was like, well, it just depends. Just ask. And she goes, what were you thinking? And I was like, I didn't want her to do that, because what I'm thinking and what is kind,
I know
different things. What I should have been prepared to do is that today was 50% off. I wasn't going to go there tomorrow, the next day. So I should have started at that 50% price, but I didn't. I gave them, like $10 or something for it. But I still think it was fair. Carrie is saying, do you think y'all's Goodwills in Austin in general do not have really decent items? She mostly finds clear, cheap glass.
Yes. And Carrie, that's an interesting question. So I just heard someone talk about, I don't know if it was on it was a review on one of the Goodwills site, like the Google review. Somebody had made a comment, and I don't know how much this happens. And, I don't know. And I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but somebody made a comment that like people who work at Goodwills, they have a lot of connections with like people in the area who are resellers.
Right.
And so they kind of call in, like, so if they get this big antique drop there, they'll call certain people to come in. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people shop from the back. And like, I kind of thought about that before, but wasn't for sure. But then I saw some comments on a Goodwill's review one day online, and I was like, wow, this probably really happened. So I don't know if that's a part of it. Or Carrie, like I was telling Beth, I think it's really competitive here in Austin, right? Like vintage and reselling and us keeping things weird, because Austin keeps things weird. I think that that's been such the norm for so long that I don't know. I feel like we're more competitive here than in other Texas cities. Yeah.
She says that she's heard of that practice before too. And, I mean, it's just like when I work retail, if we got something in, we would be like, or we knew a sale was coming up, there's always, you would put things in the back. And then you could buy later, like you personally employ, but you would also buy for other people. There's a ton I bought some things. So I'm sure that it happens everywhere. I do know that estate sales, like my antique emporium owner, she has people that do clean out, and she has people that do estate sales and after estate sales, and they will give her first dibs. Like before it goes to a donation or whatever. And I'm not sure if that's because they can sell it at her place and commission.
Oh, yeah.
If they're like, hey, we're about to dump this in the trash. And then she even dumps some things in the trash, which the guy next door who rents another space told me, you would be surprised at how much stuff goes in the trash. And I was like, wait, we don't throw anything in the trash. So I went over and was like, do not throw anything else in the trash until I come through it and see if I can use it, especially furniture. I mean, Lovey is great at strengthening up any furniture. And I mean, just because things look bad doesn't mean they're going to end up looking bad. And Carrie's saying that she works for Relic Road Estate Sales.
I've been to one of those before, Carrie. Once or twice. I've probably seen you.
Hi, Kathy Beck. I see that you are in the chat too. Dolores was explaining a little bit about that egg, that flea thing. It says it looks like a wooden egg that came apart. They put a piece of meat in the egg. Close it back up. The fleas go into the holes, eat the meat inside, and the fleas get too big to get back out.
Oh, that totally makes sense.
I'm good. Can you imagine rotten meat and ugh.
Dolores, do you have one of those?
I think you bought it. Did you, Dolores? I know that Miss Damn Jewelry has, that Lady Peacock has it, but I don't think you bought that from her.
Are they like hard to find? I wonder. I'm going to have to go do a little research.
I don't know, but I know Lady Peacock in the UK has one because she showed it on that video. So I heard you say you have a booth and you mostly sell on Facebook Marketplace and Instagram. And I think that Dolores dropped her link for Instagram, but you don't have Etsy or eBay or anything like that.
Oh goodness, I sold on eBay for years and years, not Bowden vintage stuff, but just other, things for the kids and stuff for so long. I used to own a children's boutique online, a shoe boutique. And so I also had a store there on eBay when the kids were little. But I opened an Etsy store and it actually was doing okay. When I started Bowden Vintage last year, I went ahead and opened a store. But then at one point in time, when we went back to teaching and I was also doing Bowden Vintage on Instagram, I had decided to try Facebook Marketplace last fall, early fall. And I had sold on it before, but really decided to add one day. I kept getting messages from Facebook saying, add shipping, and you get like so many more purchases, right? Or, buyers. And I'm like, okay. So I added shipping to all these items that I thought I could ship and literally woke up the next day and I had like 20 orders. And I was blown away with how much sold on Marketplace through shipping. And so I started really doing that last fall a lot, but I was shipping like 20 to 30 packages per week. And with teaching and everything, it got to be really overwhelming. And so I stopped the Etsy store for a bit and took a little vacation and really stuck with the Marketplace and on Instagram. But I had to slow down with what I was posting because it was selling and I was shocked but I don't know, like, I feel like my sales have been really good, but you also don't know who you're dealing with as well. Like I had two people recently that, totally left me a super unfair review without even communicating with me at first. And I was kind of like super sad about it. Messaged them after we talked, they were fine. And they were like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But it was just with shipping. Like I've had 2 packages break recently and had never had that happen before. So I recently kind of switched over to use UPS instead of USPS.
So you're doing shipping on Marketplace and that made a difference?
Yes. Shipping on Marketplace, girl, you go add your stuff. I know, right? It's insane. I was shocked with how much. I literally woke up and like everything had sold. And I was like, oh my goodness. And if you guys know, like packaging you take time and you make it personal and you're wrapping. And especially with so much that's glass pieces and things that are breakable, it just takes a really long time. And so I got super stressed with that and was like, okay, I'm going to have to hold off. So I did shut down Etsy. Now I just do stuff from my Instagram page and still Marketplace. I just kind of make sure I'm aware of like how many things I'm posting.
So Book asked us, Book Bewitch, hey, good morning, Book. She said that she's curious what reason we think Goodwill's practice of covering maker's marks is. And I don't know, but I don't know about y'all, but they don't put one sticker. They put 4,000 stickers on there. And I know why, because I've literally watched people take stickers off, which I'm like, that's why we have so many problems. You're switching stickers. But
and some Goodwills won't sell you. If there's no sticker, I've been to Goodwills where if there's no sticker, they won't sell it to you.
Yeah, they will say that I'll have to give it to my manager, or I've had people take it in the back and the manager has to price it. So apparently there are intakers, there are pricers, and there are like shelvers or stockers, and then there's cashiers, right? So one of the things that I showed on Instagram the other day was, I don't even have it near me, or I show you, it's a little bitty wooden box, and I posted it on Instagram, and it was like on the little side cabinets. It wasn't like out where all the wooden stuff was, but it was on the little side cabinet where they kind of put the things that they think are a little bit more expensive, but it was a wooden box. And when I picked it up, well, what made me look at it was that it was kind of open. So when I opened it, I saw like 2 brooches on the top, and I turned it over and it was a green tag for like $1.99. Well, 2 brooches right there for $1.99. I immediately grabbed the little girl that is in there and I said, hey, I didn't put these brooches in there. I said, but they're in here. Do you need to put them back? And she was like, oh, do you want them? And I was like, well, if I don't know how much they are. And she said, well, if they come to Goodwill, now this is our Goodwills. She said, if they come in a bag, in a box, in a container of any sort, they cannot take them apart. They have to price it based on what they see, right? So she said if they were brooches and they came in as brooches, unless it's like a bag of jewelry or something, they can put it in the jewelry. We would have taken the jewelry out and priced it individually. But because they came in a box, she said we priced the box, which is $1.99, and put it there. And I was like, well, I'm going to take it for $1.99. It was 2 brooches, regardless of the little box. And then when I got there, I mean, it was rattling, and I kind of looked in and there was more than 2 brooches, but I didn't want to I was kind of flustered by it because I was so surprised. And when I got there, I told the girl, I was like, hey, this little box is a green, because I usually do all my colors. I'm just, I do all my greens and then all my yellows. And I tell them, and I go, and this one, I said, it has something in it. It's marked $1.99. She said, for that little box, 49 cents. And I was like, okay. And so I took it home. When I opened it up, there were 6 brooches in there, and one of them is iridescent and glows under black light. I cannot believe.
No way.
And I wish I had it close so I would show you, but it's a little, it's on my Instagram. But it was a brooch about that big, and all outside in the center stone just glows like you wouldn't believe. And for all 6, I paid 49 cents. So that's something that I learned from them. I mean, I will tell you, if there's a maker mark and I can't read it, I will pull back the sticker, but I put it right back. I try not to take it all off, but I'm gonna look and see what I'm buying. It's just like when you go to the clearance at Dillard's and you want to buy shoes and you need to know what kind of shoes they are and they put the sale price. I'm going to take that off so I can know what name brand that is. That was a good karma score. Nancy says their Goodwill only sells jewelry online. Hey, Maria, California Thrifter, thanks for coming in.
Hi, Maria. Oh, I love Book Bewitched. I love your name, by the way.
Yeah, she's got a really cool name. We see her a lot in the chats. So the other day was the first time that I got, when you did your second live, the second time you've ever done one, is one that I got to see your face, right? Because normally your pictures are there, or I've seen you unbox a box of dolls.
Oh, yeah.
really cool when you bought this whole box of dolls, and I was like, I don't know what she's going to do with those dolls, but maybe. And so I watched a sale because it was you and two other ladies that were on a sale, and they knew a tremendous amount about different types of glass. That one lady, she was down here. So,
yes, swank sass.
Has the blonde hair.
Sass. Oh, Kristen, the vet. Are you talking about the vintage vet?
So it wasn't the host. It was the other lady. So it was that there was a brown-haired girl that was hosting, and then you came on, and then there was another lady. I don't know if I can say she's older because you didn't know how old I was. You didn't know I was this old, but I'm old, girl.
That was I think that probably was Kristen, and then Swank and Sass Goods.
Sass is what Carrie's saying. Book, we don't know. We that's what we were saying, is we have no idea why they cover the marks, unless they're just trying to do it on the bottom. But sometimes there's like one on the bottom, one on the side, one on the top. If I could just get them to stop putting them on like paper stuff or paintings, if I could just get them to stop putting stickers on that would be great.
I know. It drives me nuts. That is a really good thought. You know what? I could ask someone. My daughter's friend works at one of the new Goodwills in College Station. I'll have to ask her about that. Why they seem to cover, because you're right. They do always put that sticker on that maker's mark. I don't know.
So, I mean, my thought was they're always putting it on the bottom, and then they put at least one more on there.
They do. Yeah.
Now, I have also found that there would be a yellow $1.99 sticker, which was the color of the week, and then a red $1.99 or $2.99 sticker on top of that. And I was like, hey, you know, what's going on here? Now, those people, I don't mind like saying something to, but like I won't do that at an estate sale or a yard sale or something. I just don't know why. I just don't do it. But yeah, and I found two different prices. Like there would be on one side, I got a bag of puzzles that was $5.99. The other side I had $6.99. And so normally here they're very, very nice about that. But our Goodwills, every day is a percentage off of the color of the week. So there's a color of the week. I now know the rotation of colors, and I know the percent they give. Teachers, military, first responders all get a discount.
See, they don't do that here in Central Texas.
I think that's on Wednesdays though. And then their senior citizens get a discount. On Mondays, it is 75% off the color of the week. So I only go to Goodwill on Monday. And so I get things, you know, a lot. Now, sometimes I found nothing with the color of the week, but sometimes I find several things, and it does help. Nancy's saying again that I think I misunderstood what she said. Her Goodwill doesn't sell jewelry in store because the customers buy them and then sell them online.
Oh.
You know, my thing about that is everything in the world is reselling. You get your groceries, it is resold. You know, they bought it from somebody, and that's my AC that's turning on.
No.
Yeah, because
okay.
Every time it's on, it's done that.
Oh, it's done. How weird.
We just got that done for $5,000. We'll be calling them in just a few minutes. But on Mondays, it's 75% off the color. Tuesday through Friday, I think, is 25% off. Saturday and Sunday is 50% off of the color.
Wow.
And then you go to the bins, and I think Michelle at Newton's Covered was the one that, yeah, right, Nancy, it better work. That told me that she actually saw at her neighboring county Goodwills, because she's out in the country, that they have a rotation system. So they'll pull like all yellow tags at a certain day from one store, and then they drop it at the next store, and then that store will pull a color tag, and there's a truck that goes around to all of the neighboring, and it's recycling, and then after so many recycles, it goes to the bins. So hey, Chris,
believe it, I've never been to the bins, believe it or not. I know all my reseller friends have. We have two, I think, in this in the Austin area. Carrie's probably been. I've never been. I know. I have it down to go, but
Miss Hey, Christine, we just talked about your drop sale that dropped today. Those, it's under 10 at Side Street Market. She dropped her drop sale today. It's all her littles that are under $10, and I didn't get to watch it, so there might be. It's a pre-recorded sale. Sandy and Otto, Trisha says it's none of the Goodwill's business what people do with the items we purchase from them. I agree because everything is
Me
resold.
too. Yep.
And everybody is able to make a profit. I don't resell everything that I buy at Goodwill. A lot of it, I mean, I regift or I make something craft out of it. Some things I buy for resale. Some things I buy for my own home. So, you know, I agree with that in that, you know, it's a store. If I go to Walmart and I buy shoes, and if I donate them to another charity, what do you care what I do with it? I paid you your money, you know?
Yeah.
So Dolores says people are spending money in the charity shop, so supporting them. What people do with the items afterwards is none of the charity's businesses. It's the same.
I
Nancy,
agree.
there's no bins locally in East Tennessee, but she does put on gloves because Carrie's saying the bins kind of gross me out. She's driven her mom, which is Lori Blue Flamingo, and she said she just stayed in the car.
You did? Because it is kind of gross. Like I've seen people like make those videos and go live and go to the bins because you have to like dig, right? You have to like dig. So I'm okay with digging.
Here, they're not that gross. And we were just talking about Oklahoma because a vintage conversation, Miss Martha, she goes to Oklahoma and I hear the bins in Oklahoma is amazing. Now they have some of the shelving and they have the bins. Here we just have the bins and they are getting better because what they were doing was putting tubs of all the glass and breakable into a bin so that it's just not thrown on. And they do separate like clothes. They try to separate bedding. They try to separate computer, books, hardware.
Okay.
Not a lot of hardware like tchotchkes and stuff because things get broken. But
Yeah.
she said at the bins in Oklahoma, I think she's shown me one where there is shelving for some of that breakable stuff. Book says they're passive aggressive and there are Goodwills that are so trashed. It's so determined. As if their decisions made and actions determined from that. Clearly nothing they do is random. They probably are thinking it all through. I mean, there is a whole set of employees I have learned just doing some research from Goodwill that are there for their Goodwill boutiques because there's a Goodwill outlet, which is the bins. There's your Goodwill stores and there's Goodwill boutiques. Now, the Goodwill boutiques is they have people who are pricing and who are comping just like we do. And those things go in their boutiques. So, you know, I mean, they're resellers too. You can't really blame them. But, you know, as a lot of people point out, their inventory is free and their CEO is making mega bucks. They're not a nonprofit. Because they are truly they are for profit and they're paying their employees too. So I'm sure they get some kind of charity tax write-off and in some form.
Absolutely.
But, you know, all of their stuff is free. So,
absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point, Dolores, for sure.
yeah.
I think we have a boutique. I think aren't they called the GWs? I think they're called the GW Boutique.
I don't know. I've seen Goodwill Boutique in South Carolina, but I've not seen a boutique here in Texas.
Yeah, we do. We have one in Westlake or Lake Way. One of the, or maybe Spicewood, if you're familiar with Central Texas, one of those areas, there's something called the GW Boutique. I haven't been this summer yet, but yeah. It is good. It is a good one.
And Trisha is saying that they have them in the same store, but they have pieces marked. Now that is for here, that's a white tag and they would never go on sale. So the white items are not in the rotation and that's the highest priced items. So we were going to talk a little bit because you sold on Instagram and I sell on YouTube. And I know that some of our YouTube sellers are kind of putting in some practices that they do on Instagram. So I watched like almost that whole sale, but it was really long, but there were 3 of y'all. And so everything is basically what we would call an offer up. Is that how that works for Instagram sales?
Yeah, and some people just do a set price, right? So sometimes sales are a combination of both.
Okay.
Like I like to just do a fixed price, right? Where I just say this
Right.
is the item and this is the price. But I know a lot of Instagram sellers like to do the auction style,
Right.
which could go on for quite a while, and I think that's where it gets really crazy sometimes. So I kind of did that from the first time, and kind of followed along. I wasn't for sure if I was doing it right, but yeah, that's more like an auction style. And then someone, and you're kind of talking about the item, and then other things come up, and people talk about things in the comments, and sometimes it's easy to get like sidetracked, right? And so that bid goes on for a long time. Then someone calls, the bid ends. And then whoever had the highest, offer
I
before the
would
bid ends.
write down like all the rules, and I was like, man, I truly am just too laid back in my live sales then, because we're like chatting like this and showing items, and I just felt like, oh my gosh, there's so many rules, and I didn't know them, so I couldn't really bid. And I couldn't figure out, like, does anybody get to say bid end, or do you have a specific person that gets to say bid end? Because I know Carrie, on some of our live sales, for the people who are have instituted the bid in. Like, I know Carrie was the bid in person, so only Carrie could say bid in when
Yeah.
she.
Yeah, I've seen that done both ways, where there's one person specifically that does it, or it's just kind of whoever gets it in, right?
Right.
So I agree, Carrie. Like so I did one time where with Annie, at Annie, I'm having a brain fart. Annie Vintage, I'm trying to think. Annie Vintage. There's another part of her name. She's out of Georgia. She's amazing, super sweet. And I did a live with her, but it was only set for an hour, and it went by so fast. Oh my goodness. And I wanted to like keep going. I was like, it's over. Oh my goodness. Because, the more people you have, of course, right, that can take a while to get through items. I'd only sold like 4 things, I think, in that hour, just because, you're going back and forth. And of course having fun along the way. But yeah, when I did it, the last live I did was with 2 other girls, and we had a great time, but it does go on for a really long time. And then at that point in time, I'd had too many glasses of wine, and so we got off, and someone else was like, hey, let's go live. And I'm like, okay, it's midnight, but sure. So we just randomly went live, and then somebody else was like, can I join? We're like, sure. And it's like 1 a.m. and we're all just going and drinking wine and selling stuff. And yeah, I didn't go to bed till probably like 3:30 that morning. Yeah. And I was miserable the next day. I was like, okay, I cannot do this. But I've also, like, one of the ways, like, I feel like one of the ways that seems to work for me is if I go to my storage building, or I just make a quick video of some things that I'm selling around the house or things in my office, and I put them all together, and I'm not necessarily showing my face. I'm just like making a video, right? And I'm just like, send me offers, or this is what I'm asking. I feel like that has worked really well for me. Sometimes I don't even, like I said, I don't even say a price. I just kind of show the items, and people message me and say, hey, how much for this item? And so that's really worked well for me when I make those videos that way, through Instagram TV.
Static sales or pre-recorded sales. Now,
Yeah.
Christine has been doing, she's the first one that I knew to do a pre-recorded sale, and several of others have done them too. And I mean, it's a great idea, because you don't have to sit here, and you can kind of watch the chat or do it as a premiere.
Absolutely.
And you can pre-record it and get it all done, and then all you have to do is focus on the chat. Because I will say, in a YouTube live sale, it is and I'm sure on an Instagram, because you're running the chat and trying to do, it's a lot. It helps to have at least one other person on there.
Sure.
When we do group sales, usually we lower the number, like 2 people, 20 items, 3 people, 15 items each, so that it doesn't last forever. Because on YouTube right now, there's just so many live sales. We try really not to run over each other, although sometimes we do.
Yeah.
They were talking a little bit about Goodwill still. And yes, Rebecca, they do that here too. Goodwill is a special needs program. They have a lot of job to work programs. I work with as an advocate for special needs, and Goodwill is one of our major employers. And it is great job training and stuff like that. So there is and we all shop Goodwill. So it is a wonderful organization. It just really depends on if it's a franchise Goodwill or not a franchise Goodwill as to how they run it. And even in each area, like somebody was saying, they are pushing back against people who are filming. We in Houston, in the greater Houston Goodwills, you are not permitted to film. If they catch you filming, they can ban you from all of their stores.
Interesting.
Now, other states that do allow filming, South Carolina allows filming just without getting anybody in the filming. And she went on to say, the person who put that in there said one Goodwill employee was called a stalker because she noticed someone filming and let her manager know. And if it's not permitted, then, it's a rule. There's rules for a reason. But then the YouTuber then publicized the location in the Goodwill and clearly showed the employee in their video. So that wasn't too nice. Now, I filmed at the bins before, and in trying to show people how they change out the bins, I did get people, and I tried to put little smiley faces, but the people kept moving, so it didn't really work as well as I thought. I really always try to not get people in the videos. But sometimes it's happened. Yeah, Christine was the first person I saw do the pre-recorded, and I think it works well for her because she has a very long day job too. That if she's going to get dressed, I always tell people all the time, when you're filming and editing a video, if I put on makeup, you can better believe that I'm filming 2 or 3 videos. So if I have the same clothes on, sorry. But I get dressed one time, especially in the summer.
Well, and I think it takes off the stress of being live too a little bit, right? Like this atmosphere right now on YouTube is super relaxed. But I do feel like sometimes on Instagram, when you're reselling, like you said, when you're doing those lives, it can get really intense depending on the number of people you have watching too and the questions and things coming in. But when you do the pre-recorded, I'm like you, Christine, I feel like less stress. I feel like I can think a little clearer about kind of what I'm saying about the items. And I don't know, I feel like it's just less intimidating, and it's worked really well for me, especially the ones when I go into the storage building and I just pan around and I'm like, these are things that I have on my shelves. Let me know, so that seems to work really well for me. Oh yeah. Fatbirds they do video.
Yeah. Now, sometimes they don't flat out say you're allowed to video. But again, if it's a franchise store, independently owned, and they're in that same area, they have different rules than the regular. And sometimes the managers will actually say, look, don't get anybody's picture. Definitely none of our employees, which would be rude, You have in any shop that I go into and film, I ask first, give them my business card. One of the best ones was Cherry Antiques. And they asked me a lot of questions. They pulled up my YouTube on the spot. They asked me when the videos would be shown. But that's in Tomball, that Cherry Street Antiques.
Okay.
Along Anna Hall, amazing place. And Dolores, I was delivering a baby shower gift. I was telling you, to her brother, who's a police officer over there, and she had sent me to a Teams resale, which I did a shop along. It just dropped yesterday, I think. But I parked and looked behind me, and there was this big store that said Cherry Street Antiques. And at first, I thought when I went in, it was so big and so nice. I thought everything's going to be retail, but they were running a 25% off or 20% off, and then some of the booths. But the things were not. They were priced okay, and I got a bunch of stuff for resale. So
nice.
If y'all are coming into the area, that is a place that I would definitely go. And there's 3 other shops that he told me about.
You said Cherry?
Cherry, Herry Street,
okay.
And it's on Cherry Street. And I did a video of them. I did a shop along in there. They let me do the shop along, and I did the haul. It had to be separate. So That was really fun. Yes, Catherine, I don't know if you're still here, but we were talking about your video with the morning jewelry, and Tiffany was talking a little bit about that. Thanks, Christine, for coming, because I know she's busy. Yes, and remember, make sure that you give a thumbs up. A lot of people watch the chats on the replay. So a lot of people will come in, say hey, and watch the chats on the replay, because Saturday mornings is flea market day, garage sale day, kids soccer day.
Sure.
So come back and watch that. So I had fun with the live sales. I enjoy doing them, and I enjoy attending them. I've had to scale back buying from them. Because I got a little slap happy when the mail lady knows me by name and she's like, hey, you got another package.
I know. Well, and then in that auction style, sometimes I feel like you're just more tempted, right? Because like you bid something, someone else, and you're like, oh, but I really want it. And it just keeps going up and up and up. And I'm the same way. Like I've purchased so much from there. It's ridiculous. But I'm excited that we're getting to try this, because I've never used this StreamYard before. So this it's interesting.
I do like StreamYard. We'll have to try, I've never done an Instagram sale. I'm not opposed to doing it, but somebody has to tell me all the rules to an Instagram sale, because, I just won't know them, and I don't want to mess it up, and then.
Well, and here's the thing. There are no rules. Just be you and do what you want to do, right? You're the store owner. You make the rules. It's okay. And I would say if you wanted to, like you and I could totally do a live on Instagram together, and we could do.
Not get anything done, but it'd be fun.
I know. We both are talkers, but we could do the whole fixed price thing where everything is just a fixed price. I recently just did a little poll in my story about shipped prices versus non-shipped.
Right.
Because I was trying to figure out what people really want. Like, I feel like if I show an item, right, that's for $5, or I show it for 15 shipped, like which is more appealing? What's going to work best for you? Because the majority of my items, I always take into consideration shipping included. So everything that I have is shipping included already.
And see, I don't know how to calculate that shipping, or I'd be on eBay, because I just don't know how to calculate that. It just depends on how I wrap it. And I know Michelle and Christine have been talking to me ad nauseum about trying to get me to understand, it's better to over calculate and be able to refund than take a loss. But right now, for me, it's just easier to say, this is what I want, because, I'm sure for YouTube too, but for Instagram, but for YouTube, if say Christine buys 5 items from me, I find that shipping for her.
Yes.
For her. And so that shipping may not be, what it was if I just shipped the one item. So for me right now, I know when I did my poll, they like a combination of flat price and offer ups. And we don't include shipping, and shipping is added after we put everything on.
Sure.
What did your poll indicate?
It indicated that it was like 75% to 25% preferred shipping included. And so a lot of times there's also something called an open box. It might be different on YouTube, but like open box is basically like, I have a lot of people that are reoccurring, right, that purchase from me often. And so they'll purchase some things and pay me, and I'll keep it in a box for them. And then maybe a few weeks later, they'll add more things. So sometimes, that goes on for a while, and I'm totally great with holding people's things like that and letting them shop with me. And of course, shipping prices will change and stuff, but they're usually really gracious and thankful for all that. But yeah, the poll indicated at first it was the opposite. And then it was like they preferred the shipped prices. And it was a total of like 32 people who voted. So I don't know. I go back and forth too, because for me, sometimes when I list a price, it may come across as being more expensive, but I have included shipping's expensive, you guys. Yeah. It is high. I mean, a simple coffee mug now right, to go priority or UPS ground is what, around $9, $10? I mean,
Yeah.
it's
And that's
expensive.
not going to California or the UK, because we do that too. Like if I have a sale on a Monday and then I have one on Thursday, or I have one Thursday and Saturday, I will, when they send me their information, or I'll reach out and I'll say, hey, let me know if you want me to hold your stuff until the following sale. So Dolores is in the UK. We have learned that what we're not going to do in the future is hold it until it's a 5-pound box, because bless her heart, I just sent a 5-pound box to the UK and it was like 70 something dollars.
Yikes.
So, and yeah, I do local too. Like I have something for Miss Janice Stevens. I have something for Miss Martha from Vintage Conversation that, you know, if they buy at my sale, will get up at some point, and that way they don't have to pay the shipping. And Trisha thank you for offering to help me, but she actually taught me about box in a bag. Because I didn't know about that. So, and I was trying to ship her something that was like really small. And I was like, they won't take the size of the box, which is a 4x4x4. It just automatically, I use pirate ship. So
yeah,
the smallest it'll do is a 6x6x6. And she was like, put it in a bag. And I'm like, a what? So she taught me about using the poly mailers to get her one item to her. And it was a lot less expensive. And I have gotten several boxes that maybe are like, about this thick, and she wrapped them in a bag, and it does cost less, but you know, I want to be really mindful of that because I don't want to get in trouble with the post office. I'm a rule follower, so
yeah, no, I totally get it. I just heard about that recently too. I don't get it 100% just because when I use Shippo, and when I was trying to figure that out, like I wasn't seeing a poly mail option. I wasn't seeing a bag option to put in.
No, it's just envelope. So when I use pirate ship, it's either box, envelope, and it'll say padded envelope, poly mailer, whatever. You drop that one, and instead of doing length times width times height, it'll just do the length and the width, and then the pounds and ounces.
Okay.
And I have 4x4x4s, 5x5x5s, and then 6x6x6. And, you know, I have literally done the box at 6x6x6. It just came on. Let's see if it does it again. I heard Lovey in the closet.
Oh, yeah. You need to call them.
Yeah, I will. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like a belt or something, but don't worry.
No, it sounds like ghost sounds from here on our side.
There better not be any ghosts in here. I'll be saging this place. But I did a box of 6x6x6, and then I did a box in a bag, especially for things that are a little bit more weighty. And it did save. And like I tell people when I first go on to do a sale, I will say, hey, I use pirate ship. It's a USPS. I don't calculate. I mean, it's not me. They calculate. They take your address and the zip code, and they take mine, and they do the weight and the dimensions of the box. And if it's $1 or less, I will ship it the parcel ground, which is usually the next cheapest.
Yeah.
Or if it's less than that, you know, like 80 cents and less, I usually do priority. You know, and at this point, y'all, I'll be honest that priority is not getting there any faster than parcel ground. So I may start doing just parcel ground for some places because it is absolutely not getting there. And sometimes it's getting there after parcel ground. And so you've paid all this extra money, and it doesn't help. Dolores says it would be hard over here in the UK. Here, second class is the same depending on the size, no matter where in the UK you ship. Even the, is it the Channel Islands and North Ireland? Yes, pirate ship. I didn't say when I was coming to Austin, Carrie. I said I am coming to Austin, but I will give you a
soon. She's coming soon.
I do need to go actually before. I really should go before I go back to school. I really should go because other than that, I probably won't have those. Trisha says post office offers large companies access to cubic rates. Pirate ship passes that option on to you, but most shipping companies don't. And that's one of the people. So a couple of the people were talking to me about the different shipping ways that you can go. And for me, the easiest has been, and user friendly has been pirate ship. Now I know there's an option on pirate ship, something about international shipping, and Christine is trying that out with Dolores. They're going to be guinea pigs on that, but you don't get tracking, and I'm not sure if you get the insurance or something, or maybe it's just not tracking. I can't remember what she says.
Oh, and Carrie says, I feel like I bug you a lot for non-shipping. Carrie, you know I'll hold anything for you anytime, seriously.
Yeah, just meet up at her shop. And that way you can shop the Emporium too.
Absolutely. Then you get home and you bid on it. Sorry, I went back a little bit too. I got ahead. Oh, Booked Bewitched says we're talking about bidding on stuff, and then you get home and you're like, wait, what? I seriously did that?
Yeah, and sometimes, sometimes the shipping is more than the items total inside the bag. That just happened to me with some other people, but it ends up that we get them all in one, and the shipping is maybe $20, and the items in the box they only paid maybe $12 for. And I'm pretty central because I'm in Houston, Texas. So, we're pretty central. So, it's a lot different because when I get things shipped from either Washington, like where Trisha is, or Stephanie, or when I get them from like Patrick or Dee, and Dee from the Thrill of the Thrift is in Niagara Falls in New York. And when I get them, I mean, if I buy something that's $5, my shipping is like $12. So it's just, but honestly, the shipping is shipping. You buy from Amazon. That's the only big company I know that if you're Amazon Prime, it's free shipping.
Yeah.
And they're shipping everywhere. So, I mean, that's the only way unless y'all want to come shop the booths and other stuff. So,
hey, Trisha, maybe you can make a video, and you might already have one. Someone, Booked Bewitched, says that Trisha rocks at shipping and wrapping. Have you made a video, Trisha, about wrapping?
She's made a shipping video. I know Danny I watched a lot of Danny, the niche lady.
Uh-huh.
A lot of her shipping videos. I've watched some of Misty's at Thrifter Junker Vintage Hunter, her shipping videos. But I watched a lot when I first got started. Actually, my second year of Facebook Lives, I started shipping, but mainly it was shipping back home. And so I figured that out. But when I really started doing this is when I had really watched a lot of Danny, the niche lady. The shipping isn't free on Amazon all the time. If you either pay a Amazon Prime membership, or they do the calculated shipping, or they've added it, because there's one, like, here's a perfect example. I looked up, there was somebody wanting one of those. I sold one, and Michelle Newton's Cover just found it. It was an Andre by Sadek fairy lamp. It was white and blue porcelain. It was different than the glass ones, which I got the top of this fairy lamp for 75 cents.
Nice.
At that church rummage sale the other day.
Just put you a candle. People do buy just the top.
Yeah. And you know what? The one that I have actually is, here's where they get the chips and the flea bites because people slam them down. But this one has none. So it can be a replacement piece for people that break theirs. And I know Michelle at Newton's Cupboard, she buys tops and bottoms all the time and sells them on eBay.
Trisha's right. When you look at Amazon, you do get excited that it's free shipping, but you're 100% correct. I've always thought that it's just built in the price. Yeah.
Yeah. My mom has the Amazon Prime membership and we just use it. So that's a bonus for Netflix and everything else.
Absolutely. For sure. Yeah, those fairy lamps. Speaking of fairy lamps, one of the questions you had asked me was like, what do I search for? Or I don't remember one of the things that we had talked about, but
waiting to find.
Yes. So like I watch these Instagram lives sometimes and I'm blown away by how much glass people find and how many fairy lamps people find. Like they'll have all these swung vases and all of these I don't ever see that out in the wild. Very, very rare. Sometimes I'll see like the fairy lamps at antique, shops and stuff. And of course they're marked up, but I rarely find a fairy lamp out and about. I did just pick one up on, I know. I think I have it in here. It's a darker green, stars and bars. I think it's maybe it's not. No, it's the moon and stars. The L.E. Smith Moon and Stars, but it's a darker green that is more. It's kind of harder to find. And I did just find that at an antique store a few days ago. I did pay like $24 or $25 for it, but when I looked online, they were all going for like 65 to 100.
Yeah.
So I was like,
found several but they're in those fall colors, so I'm kind of waiting for fall. But there's one guy that I go to, and he has a lady that brought, and I told him, if you get, this was way back, I said, if you get a fairy lamp, call me, I'll pay you over the phone, we'll video chat, make sure it's not flash painted, because I don't like it. But he forgot. A lady brought in like 10 of them, and there was a red one, there was a cobalt blue one, and he said, oh gosh, I forgot to tell you, and a lady came in yesterday and bought 7. I looked at him and I was like, Paul, you are now fired, because I bought the other ones that he had, but she bought a red one they were not flashed, they were these. There was a red and a blue stars and bars, and they were not flash painted. And at the time, he had like 10 on them, 8 and 10 on the big ones, or 12 on the big ones.
Oh, yikes.
And I said, what did we talk about? Then my like AP voice kicks in,
For sure.
I'm like, okay, what did we talk about? Like a fairy lamp, you call, I pay over the phone, Yeah, Paul is totally fired. But now, and he did that with my ephemera. Now he learned about the ephemera pieces too. So I was like, holy cow. But there is several that I've picked up from him. I have 2 clear ones. We're actually having Michelle Newton's Cupboard, Christine Side Street Market, and myself. We are having an all glass sale on August the 3rd.
Okay.
5 p.m. And there is a different shaped fairy lamp in there. It's what they call a pineapple shaped fairy lamp. And y'all have seen them. You probably just didn't know they were a fairy lamp. But I went to Paul's shop, and I don't buy glass because I don't know enough about it. That's why I did that little show with Alex on Antiques 101 glass. And I just bought 7 pieces of glasses that day. 7 pieces. But he had them for like $6 to $18 or something for the bigger pieces or whatever.
Yeah, that's great.
So I just bought them, and I thought, what in the HE double hockey sticks am I going to do with all this glass? So I was like, let's have a glass sale. So we're each going to have 15 items, and it's all glass. And so that's going to be interesting to ship, and it'll be
yes. I feel like it's addictive too. And I feel like it's so big right now, like super, super popular as well. But like the more I started buying and watching these lives and reading some at estate sales, I keep picking up like antique books, like, informational books on antiques and glass. And I just recently bought one on milk glass because I love milk glass, period. And like Victorian milk glass, the dresser sets and all of that. But, yeah, I just like, I can see how it's an addiction for sure. I mean, it is beautiful when it is sitting up and the light is coming through, and it is lovely. So I do have a few of those fairy lamps that I kept for myself. I do have that blue one that is kind of like a pineapple shape, like you're talking about, that I had bought from Mel months and months and months ago. But I just really love those. But every time I get one, I resell it and then I regret it. So I decided the last ones I've been finding, I just decided to keep. But yeah, Carrie, I don't know. I don't see them out in the wild ever here in Austin. Honestly, I don't. Oh, your mom? Who's your mom?
My mom is Bella Rose.
Oh, hi, Bella Rose.
And Trisha says she just scored 6 Fenton fairy lamps, but had to pay up a bit for them, but they were too cool to leave behind. I wouldn't have been able to leave any of them behind.
How did you score 6 at one time?
Carrie says no fairy lamps, but I could pick up a rusty non-working farm tiller at multiple places if y'all needed one.
100%. Or clear glass, or clear glass vase, right? Crystal vase.
Yeah. Now I think clear glass, I really think we should do and I've talked to Dolores about this, like a clear glass collab, like an open collab of showing me how you style. Make a video showing how you style your clear glass, because it is so multi-purposeful, multifaceted.
Mhm.
You can drop lights in it. You can put a candle
Mhm.
in it. You can do, flowers in it. It just goes for any and every holiday, and it's so pretty. So we're gonna talk about doing that. There was a couple of us that really like
Yeah.
clear glass. My
Yeah.
mom loves clear cut glass and some of that pressed glass. She loves that.
Me too, Bella Rose. I do too. In fact, I'm on a Facebook page on Facebook called the EAPG, the Early American Pattern Glass
Mm-hmm.
page. Great group, super knowledgeable. And they have, I think they're the only ones that have this database with all of these glass and pictures, and people have taken pictures and they've put it together, right, to make this database so that if you're looking for something, you can go through and try to identify it. So do not, like, we take it for granted, right? It's called EAPG.
EAPG. That's the Facebook page.
It is, yeah. And I think if you put in EAPG, it'll pop up, but it's the Early American Pattern Glass.
Yeah.
And I think we take it for granted. Like, we always see tons of the clear cut stuff at Goodwill, and there are actually a lot of rare pieces that you pass by all the time. And you realize that when you join this page and you start seeing all these different patterns come through. I was just at I love witchy stuff and the gothic-y things too. And I was just at an estate sale and I found this glass candy jar, globe candy jar, compote. Is it compote or compote? Compote.
We say compote because
I say compote because, but is it compote? Compote? I don't know.
Hey, girl.
I don't know either, but compote. And it was, it had a tear glass, like a tear shaped, right? And then it had moon and stars. And the tear shaped around it was like magnified. So it was interesting because it was a lighter color clear glass, but the tear shapes were like a magnifying glass. And so were the sun. Oh, it's so beautiful. And it was late, like 1870s, I think, was when they had made that pattern. I forgot what it's called right now, but that I am on a mission to find more pieces of that pattern.
I actually found my first piece of black onyx, and it's a covered butter dish.
Oh.
Hold on, and I'll get it.
Those are pretty.
But I have never found a piece of black. Now, it's not black amethyst, but it's black onyx, maybe? Black onyx.
Ooh, pretty.
Yeah. And I have it set aside for, it's right here if I don't drop it. But it is, I think it's called black onyx, but I want to say it's diamond point, and it's a covered butter dish. Hold on.
I know exactly what you're talking about. But Dolores, you found... Oh, Beth got you one? A fairy lamp? Aw.
I sent Dolores one.
That's so sweet. That's what she said. She said she found one for eight pounds, right? Is that like 16 pounds for us? I mean,
well, it's close to $16. Yeah.
It's like almost double, right?
It's one of the last times we looked, I don't know what the currency rate is right now, but it went from anywhere from $1.16 US to £1 to $1.36. But it is vintage Indiana black glass tiara, diamond point butter dish with lid. How about that deal?
Yep. Beautiful.
Look at that. Oh.
So us witchy gothic-y people pay up for that stuff.
And then look at the bottom.
So pretty.
It's on the bottom, and it's got the little footed pieces right here so it doesn't kind of clang. But that I'm gonna have that in October. But isn't that beautiful?
Gorgeous.
And I got that at Paul's shop too. So I will take you to.
Where's Paul's shop?
Who's you when you come? But it's right next door to my Emporium. He actually rents the space from my Emporium dealer. And he's got like 20 little vendors in there. He's consignment too. He's got like 20 little people in there, and he's got all these people that are downsizing or moving or clearing out or whatever.
Nice.
Sometimes she'll bring some pieces over because it stages better for him, from her vendors over there. But yeah, I believe on Facebook that he doesn't have very many pictures, and he's not on Instagram, but he's like, I get there around 12ish. And she gets so mad because she's like, be here when it's time to open. But he's a retired special ed teacher. I just
That's awesome.
Oh, he is so fun. But you go in there sometimes and there's nothing but glass. You go in there sometimes and there's nothing but wooden pieces and stuff.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, and I think on Facebook it's called I'm not sure. I'll have to send it to you. The front porch resale maybe, but Glen Flora Emporium.
Okay.
Flora Emporium is where my booth is. They have a Facebook and they have an Instagram. And I know that Tammy Vintage Uprising Texas just bought 3. She bought 3 of them. They had 5. She bought 3 orange creamsicle swung vases, like massively tall.
Whoa.
Some lady brought in 5.
Okay.
And so I'm going to go and film in there. I haven't filmed in there in a really long time, but I'm going to go film in there again. And I haven't filmed in Paul's shop, but usually when I go, I'm working and then I look around real quick and then I have to go back. But
sure.
Yeah. She
okay.
said, Dolores says, Mom says, put that down before you break it. Does my mom know me or what? When I was holding up that thing, Dolores said it's $11.50. The exchange rate is rubbish at the moment, she said.
It is almost double.
Yeah. So, well, she paid £8, and that's $11.50 in the US.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. And yeah, it is gorgeous. That is a gorgeous piece. And do you know, y'all, I left that thing on the shelf probably 4 to 6 weeks. And I just was like, I don't do glass and blah, but it kept staring at me. Right. And so I ended up picking it up, and I thought that would be beautiful for Halloween.
It's the intuition. I like that little gothic-y flair you got going. See, it's hidden.
Yeah.
It's starting to come out. Book Bewitched says I'm a dependent on, oh yes, on Amazon reading audio. Me too, girl.
Her stuff delivered.
Are you kidding me? For sure.
Joanne Baber, good morning. I see you. And Kathy.
I love Audible.
From Picasso Cat. But Precious Lavender Button says a big old box coming to me. It should be coming soon, Joanne, because it went out on Wednesday, maybe. So it shouldn't be too long. And Book is saying, check out the Graceful Lily Market's contributions to a decorative collab. Yeah, I think I am going to do that collab. Several of us have talked about it. I just have to find a time when I can do it. The next collab that everybody on YouTube was doing, and I opened my last one up to YouTube and Instagram and Facebook so that everybody could participate. But is a Thriftmas in July. And that's to show off all the Christmas things you have thrifted in like a haul or something like that. And usually Nicole Nestinghaven does it, but she's not able to do it this time. So Carol from My Blessed Nest and Deanna from Dot Likes Red, they are co-hosting. And so go to Carol My Blessed Nest page, and they've both been on my creator chit chats. They are doing the Thriftmas in July, and it's just basically to show all of the things that are Christmas that you've thrifted as part of this in July. Sure. So that all drops on the 22nd. So there, and then we wanted to do this clear glass. I think that would be cute before you go into fall.
Yes. So, yes.
This has been super fun. So as we close out, but I need to find out what's wrong with this AC. Before we close out, what's coming up for you on your Instagram or anything like that?
Well, my goal right now is to get this booth done. I've got to get the booth up because, my daughter showing up yesterday, surprising me, kind of ruined my schedule a little bit. I love her, but I'm just like, girl, I needed to go do this, but that's okay. I'm happy to see you. So, so it's all good. And then my sister-in-law decided to come tomorrow at the last bit. She's from Colorado. She's visiting in-laws in Houston. And she's like, hey, I'm coming tomorrow too and spending the night. So I had to put my booth aside this weekend. So I kind of was bummed because it's the weekend, right? That's when most people shop at antique malls for the most part. So I am going to work on getting my booth put up, send some pictures. I'll definitely post some of those this week, but I do have a couple of things coming this week on my page that I'm dropping, some glass things and some Victorian things. So I do have some of those coming. A lot of people get ready and they market their drops. I post very random, mostly in the evening or really early in the morning. So that's really what I have going on this week, is a couple of random posts and just getting ready for my booth. And I might do a storage little video sell because those seem to work really well. So yeah.
Well, that'll be fun. I don't have a sale this week. I am going to do a live haul on Thursday at 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, of the 2 carry-on bags, wheeling carry-on bags of stuff that I brought back from my mom's. So I went to South Carolina, and she is downsizing, and I was pillaging through her things, and I was like, this, and this. And I don't think I'll have enough time to go through it all, but because there's a huge bag of jewelry, and there's a box of like miniature teapot sets and stuff like that. But I've got a bunch of stuff, and girl, literally we threw all of our clothes into a duffel bag that she had to check, and I wrapped as if I was selling them and shipping them. And
I bet.
2 carry-ons. So, and we brought it back. So I'll have to unwrap it all and make sure. Some of the pieces I got were grandparents and great-grandparents things that I wanted to keep, but some of it is absolutely for resale. And then, yeah, you and I will probably need to chat about a trip to Austin, or one meeting up somewhere halfway to shop. And then maybe doing a YouTube live sale or an Instagram live sale. That would be fun.
Let's do it. That sounds awesome. It was so great to meet everyone too. Thank you, Booked Bewitched. That's super sweet. Nice meeting you too. Oh, we have My Blessed Nest video.
I think that's the channel that she put on there. So go to her community tab. It's just My Blessed Nest. If you go to her community tab, she has I think she already posted it, the things for the Thriftmas in July.
Okay, I'll check that out. Oh, Colorado's my sister-in-law lives there. Yeah. I'm gonna have to check that out, because we usually drive
traveling to go thrifting. I mean, this air conditioning that's making all this noise, and yes, mother, my new air conditioner is making noise, but don't worry, I'll fix that. With one phone call, I'll fix that. That $5,000 that I just paid for that could have been my trip to the UK.
For real.
I'm determined to go to the UK, to visit Dolores, to go to car boot sales, to meet Bob, to meet Lady Peacock. I mean, she's dying to meet me. I know. I just know she is. So it was super fun to meet you today in person, and get to chat with you. If you have watched the video, or if you're watching on the replay, make sure that you give this a thumbs up before we head out. If you're not subscribed to my channel, make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram. Now on Instagram, I am just at Sweet Treats and Pretties, because it wouldn't fit. And then Tiffany is Bowden Vintage, at Bowden Vintage, and she is on Instagram. So make sure that you I'm reading her. I can't wait to bring Cheetos. Dave, her husband, loves Cheetos, and they can only get them in America.
Oh, how funny.
So, yeah, if I go, I cannot leave without Cheetos.
Bringing Cheetos. That's so funny. I wonder if you can bring a whole bunch and freeze them. Can you freeze chips?
I don't know if you can freeze Cheetos. Who would let Cheetos last that long?
I don't know. I'm just curious. I'll have to go look that up. Hey, I mean, I always freeze bread.
True that. But will they be soggy when you thaw them out?
No, bread. It is extra soft when you take bread, like sliced bread, from the freezer take it out. It literally stays fresh really long.
Dolores says those Cheetos won't last long enough to go in the freezer.
Well, that's probably true. It's nice meeting you too, Rebecca. Thank you, Rebecca.
Hey, to everybody coming today. This was super fun. I can't wait to, collab in the future with you and to follow you and see, and most importantly, to meet up and let's go shopping somewhere.
All about it. All about it. Yes.
All right.
I appreciate it. Nice meeting everyone.
Okay. We'll stay on for a few minutes just to make sure that we got everything closed out, but I'll go ahead and close out the video the same way that I do all the time, which is y'all stay pretty and be sweet. Creepy doll. Bye, y'all.